We've been around them for 4 weeks now. Just off season for 3 weeks where you only get them 8 hours a week, but 6 of it's in the weight room. But we can do some agility stuff and some meetings and stuff, so we did that. And then this past week has been 20 hours, which just gives you more time, which is awesome. Feels good to resemble being a football coach. It's one of the reasons why I got into this profession, believe it or not, is to actually coach football. But we celebrated 2021 probably a little bit too much. That's behind us. There's been a lot of adding staff, obviously a lot of adding players with recruiting, which that never stops. Contract talks, new building talks. I mean, there's just a whole lot, conference realignment talk. There's just all kinds of stuff. Supporting the basketball team as much as I possibly can, which has been great fun. So it's time to buckle down and do a little football.
This is our first chance to get your thoughts about the ops building being approved by the board. It's an obvious question, but how big a deal is this?
It depends on whether you want to be competitive in the Big 12 or not. It basically comes down to that. The facilities that have been put in place here are good. We got one of the best practice situations that exists in the country with this indoor, with the outdoor practice facility. The upgrades with the stadium has been good. We were homeless in the Alumni Center for about 3 months because of the flood a year ago. That stuff's all been rectified to where we're functional, but you can't compete where we're going with the current setup. It's just as simple as that. So it's big. There's going to be a lot of work when it comes to that. I'm going to be heavily involved with that, obviously. I'm going to be here for a long time, and I expect to be successful. And I kind of know what it takes in order to do that. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm looking forward to it.
What does it say about the leadership that you're getting this facility that you have wanted for a while now?
Yeah, they get it. It's kind of the final piece of the puzzle, for UH athletics. Everything else has been good. When we're out of that building, it's going to help all the other Olympic sports as well. So all their stuff needs to be upgraded. I know Coach Sampson's already complaining about he needs his stuff upgraded, which I'm sure he does. But we need this for football. We need this to be able to compete. It's been Chris Pesman's vision since the day he got here. Having Tillman on board with it, the board on board with it, and Renew understanding the importance of facilities when it comes to recruiting and competing. It's not just recruiting high school guys, but recruiting transfers, but recruiting our own team to stay is a real thing now. We got to recruit our players every day, and we got to treat them the best that we possibly can. And if their day-to-day is not as good as it is down the road, then they're probably going to go down the road. So it's a reality in the world that we live in, and it's what's necessary in order for us to compete.
What's the main thing you try to get out of these early spring practices?
Before I go there, we're having a Greater Houston Coaches Association function here today. James Clancy, the head coach of Klein Kane, is the president. It's important for us to be able to get these guys on campus. We haven't been able to do this in 2 years. I got here for a year, and we kind of did it a little bit my first year, and then we haven't been able to do it for the last 2 years. I haven't been able to connect with a lot of the people that I've known for 20 years in this city. Obviously Houston, the Greater Houston Football Organization is second to none. Corey Meekins has been on that board for years. So much has been made about recruiting and supporting the state of Texas, supporting the city of Houston. Nobody does that, believe it or not, as much as the University of Houston does. We have 2 of the OGs on our staff when it comes to, and they're both assistant head coaches. I've named them both assistant head coach. One, Mike Jenks, with the liaison to the Texas High School Football Coaches Association, being in cahoots with Joe Martin and Coach West is very important, and Mike has been doing that for a long time. So is Corey Meekins. Corey Meekins was on the board for the Texas High School Coaches Association. So a lot's been made on some other schools in the state of Texas that they're going to hang their hat on that. Well, I got news for them, so are we. which is why we have 2 of the OGs on staff that are going to be assistant head coach and great ambassadors and liaisons to all the great high school coaches here. So you're going to see a bunch of them in there right now. Once practice is over, we're going to have a crawfish boil for them over there, maybe a couple of cold pops or whatever to just celebrate the fact that we can do this again and we can develop relationships and talk ball where we haven't been able to do that for the last couple of years. So that's the most important thing for what we're doing today. Yes, today's the first day with uppers on. It really doesn't change how we practice. The first 2 days were spiders and helmets where we got good work in. There's a lot of energy, a lot of new faces, and just being able to work with those guys is awesome. Our staff's excited. There's a lot of energy. You guys will feel it in there. We'll be in here for about 30 minutes and then go down to the game field and be able to do some 11 on 11.
Are you an OG too?
Well, I started recruiting Houston in 2000. So that was before Corbin was even a head coach at Westfield.
You're an original gangster.
So I consider myself an OG from a recruiting perspective in the city of Houston. That's why I moved here in 2008 and 2009, because I fell in love with the high school football. And fell in love with the University of Houston when I was here in 08 and 09. Bought a house. All my West Virginia staff couldn't figure out why I was taking 3-day weekend trips from Pittsburgh to Houston because I would come down here and hang out, and would keep recruiting down here. And after I took the job, hired about a dozen of them, they all said, okay, now I get it. I understand why you used to come down all the time.
Speaking about the new faces, has there been any of those guys that have...
Way too early. Way too early. I know what
you don't want to
saying.
talk about specific players.
I don't want to talk about specific players. I'm still evaluating those guys. I believe there's about 15 new guys out there. I believe it's 15, 16, something like that. I'm excited about those guys. They all look good. They look good, but long ways to go. We got a long ways to go.
So will you comment on the fact that you officially signed your contract?
I've basically been talking about it, for the last 10 minutes or whatever. It's been my goal. I'll be here as long as the University of Houston will allow me to be here. We made good strides with where we were at last year. Going where we're going in a couple years, wherever that, whatever timetable that is, whether it's, a year from now or 2 years from now, it's going to be a lot of work, so it was important to get something signed to the point to where we understand what's ahead of us and what we're doing. It's great for stability. It's great for recruiting our staff. We didn't have any turnover. We hired 6 or 7 new people. That's pretty much unheard of in college athletics, and I think it just all has to do with where we're at, where we're going, and having the stability and security that we have.
Dana, speaking about filling out the roster for the second season, do you have a number of guys that you're still trying to add?
Yeah, we got about 12 spots left. And recruiting never stops. We're going to have 2 official visitors this weekend because recruiting just opened up a couple days ago. It was paused for the month of February, but now it's back open. We've had kids on campus. We have a junior day on Saturday. We have another practice on Sunday where we've invited a lot of guys. So we can sign up to about 12 more people. So
for the 2022
for the upcoming season,
right?
If we sign 5 to 12, they'll more than likely join us June 4th. So we still got 2-3 months to be able to figure that out.
Talk a little bit about just the consistency of last year. The coaches that you have back, these guys don't have to relearn very much. How important is that aspect of it?
It's made it easier. We're not looking for things to make things easier. We're looking for things to make better. But it's what I promised everybody when I came here. It's not going to be a revolving door. We're going to have the same systems, and going on our 4th year right now. The 4th year. Wow. We have a lot of continuity and a lot of consistency, which I think our team sees that and our team appreciates that, which is why we're having such good success.
Are there some things you can tell us generally what you're looking for in those 12 spots?
We'll take one of everything. Best players. Our job is to get this roster, good enough to where we can compete for the American Conference Championship next year and then take the next step after that. That means try to get better players.
How much is the transfer portal going to play in that?
A lot. Yeah, you can't get high school guys now. You might get some late JUCO guys. That's happened in the past, but at this point in time, there's people in the portal that we're vetting, that we're recruiting, and then once spring practice is over, I would imagine that thing will get loaded back up again.